down tonight, yeah.
...2023. In the last race, we saw the series kick off. We had Ryan Kempson coming in first, so he is top of the leaderboard currently. He's also racing today. Sean Roberts came in second, so he is second in the leaderboard. We had Ryland Shadegg coming in third. Sadly, he's not with us today. So we do have a couple of extra male athletes joining today, which is going to make an incredibly exciting competition. So extra athletes to keep your eyes on today are Dane Leon Cofford, VJ Jones, and Ian Hozek. Now, between the five of them, this is going to be an absolute competition for the top spot. And from what I understand, VJ Jones kind of made a bit of a last-minute decision to come in. So for the women, last time we saw Chris Rogloski coming in first, followed by Alexandra Walker, Jamie Horonopoulos, and Christina McFarland. They are all here today, also joined by Heather Golnick and Miranda Kielpinski. Apologies there. So again, we have a really stacked field for the women. It is going to be an absolute battle there. Interesting to have the top four here again today. Will be interesting to see how they compete against each other. So this is, as we said, it's the second of 7 races. They happen across the year, with the final race happening in Florida in November, and that is mandatory. Each athlete, if they want to place in the series, must take on at least 5 events. If you do all 7, it's the top 5 that counts, and this is the second one going on. The point system. So it's a system of a leaderboard. Sorry. So the first place, we're getting 100 points. Second place, 99. Third, 98. We've only had one race, so it's very straightforward to know who's top of the leaderboard. It's the guys that placed first, second, and third last time. The course today is a little bit longer than it was in Georgia, and a couple more obstacles. We have some new obstacles for 2023. One that was a little bit of a controversy last time was sling ring. We talked about this in the coverage. We saw Ryan Kempson miss a few times, and then the tyre bounce off. It's basically a tyre that you throw and it bounced off. That turned out to be, as it was a new obstacle, rules were a little bit misunderstood. But we know now for the future that absolutely they have to stick. So we have a couple of really exciting new obstacles here for this year that the athletes will be taking on today. Now, Miranda, you and I can't hear each other, but would you like to chip in and give the viewers a little something to think about? So as we head to the start line, I'd just like to remind everyone who's watching that if you want to see more OCR races live stream this year, you can support the sport and become a member of the OCR Report today. We have a Patreon, and for just less than $5 a month, we do have a scale, but for less than $5 a month, you can help us live stream races like this every single week. Find the link in our YouTube show notes, and for more information on our Instagram page at OCR Report, do become a member. There we go. We have VJ Jones, Leon Cofford. 2 guest racers today that weren't here last time. Is going to be an incredible race with those 2 here, plus the guys that we already have. Ryan Kempson, Sean Roberts, and Ian Hozek. We've got our eyes on those guys today. We should be kicking off in just a minute or 2, and this race is going to be It's going to be pretty fast and furious from what we know of these guys. We did mention this last time. I think it was a Savage, not this one, but Georgia, where Leon actually broke his leg and caused some quite heavy damage to his knee. And his racing has been slowly growing since then. He's been building up strength and confidence. And it's great to see him back in the States racing in a series. If someone likes to travel and support OCR, it is Leon. So shout out to him. There is Ryan. I love it when people wear distinctive outfits because it makes this job so much easier. Right. And they are off. So this is a 6+ mile course today. Their first obstacle will be Scorn Hole. We have 4 rabbits out on the course. Hilariously, I think we have 2 Jessica rabbits, Kevin and Rachel. So they will be keeping all the footage coming back to us for us to follow. As you are aware, they are out in the wilderness and it can get a little patchy. So do bear with us if we lose any coverage at any point.
All right. So I think I might have gotten us connected. Yeah, so Francesca
Yes,
can hear me now.
you.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. So yeah, I was just looking at the map and I think I might have spoken earlier and also maybe the audience couldn't hear me. So my apologies. Looks like obstacle number 1 is Scorn Hole. And I've seen this a couple times now where that's the first obstacle. And what's interesting is sometimes that can take a couple tries. So it can really shake things up in the beginning. And I think that can make a big mental difference. If you miss your first try on the very first obstacle, you might get in a negative headspace. And so it might just be a little bit harder to catch up after that.
So sorry to interrupt. We didn't see so much last time of people missing obstacles or having problems, apart from on slingering with Ryan. Well, and obviously a couple of other athletes, but that's the one we really focused on. So what's it with Scorn Hole? Like, let's talk through this obstacle a bit and why it might cause a problem for people.
So Scorn Hole is a little bit like a wall ball, but it is a slanted wall with a hole at the top, and you have to get it to go into the hole. So it's a medicine ball. It's not super heavy, maybe 6 pounds or something like that, but it's just a matter of getting your aim right the very first toss. So it's a really quick retry obstacle. You miss it, it rolls back down to you, you throw again. It only takes an extra 5 seconds or something to retry. So we'll see it here. Let's see if they get it. Hit,
Ryan is through, Sean is through.
Okay, so top 3 guys
EJ
all
through.
made it.
And there we go. Everyone's kind of, yep. All right. I can see what you mean, though. It's
yeah.
It's one of those non-obstacle obstacles that actually causes a lot of problems. Straight up to obstacle number 2, slippery incline.
My prediction didn't happen, but maybe with the ladies. I see it happen every once in a while. Though.
The men are running strong, aren't they? We've got that pack at the front together of what I think to be Ryan, Sean, and VJ.
And yeah, we've already got a little bit of a gap forming, but not too much, just a few seconds.
And then I did talk through the women as well earlier. We've got some incredible women racing today. We've got the top 4 and 2 ladies that we didn't see last time, Heather Golnick and Miranda Kielpinski.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how Miranda shakes things up a little bit, and Heather as well, because they weren't here last time, but they're both strong competitors. So that'll be fun to see. I'm a little curious what the weather's like. I know it's Florida, so it's probably warm. Nobody looks to be real cold. Sometimes in Florida, it can be pretty dewy in the morning, foggy, which can make obstacles wet. So that can make things like the rig just a little bit more difficult, especially for the first couple people. Now, sometimes by the time you get to, I don't know, 20 minutes into the race, the obstacles get kind of dried off by people's hands, but those first couple people really have to have good grip.
It's hard to tell from the camera. I mean, it's not like it was last time where everything got called off by an hour because of torrential rain. But yeah, it looks both really warm and a little bit cold, but that could just be because I'm cold over here in the UK. So the last time we watched this, I was very taken with Savage Race. I would love to give it a go. And for anybody out there that wants to try out a Savage Race, you can see more at our Instagram page, but also website savagerace.com. If I was in the States, I would very, very much be liking to try that. You should bring them to the UK, Savage Race. So we're a bit low on camera coverage at the minute. The rabbits are scrambling around. We can see behind the scenes here, they are off trying to find both coverage and athletes. It's always a little bit tricky trying to get everything covered out in the wild. You know, coverage can be a little bit dodgy, and that kind of is our biggest limitation on coverage. But they are doing their absolute best and running around like headless chickens right now. So what are your thoughts on the men today, Miranda? How do you think Leon and VJ being here will mix things up?
Yeah, so that's going to be a good battle. It's hard to know who's going to come out on top. Obviously, you never really know. But I think those two are going to push each other. I don't know. Kempson, I feel like just kind of ran away with it last time, and that was a little surprising to me to see such a gap between him and second and third. So I'm wondering if Kempson is going to just kind of do the same thing again, because even when we've seen him at OCR World Championships and things like that, it seems like when he wants something, he tends to work hard and just I don't know. I feel like he's done that before where he's won a couple times with the gap. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Kempson in first again with a little bit of a lead, and then Leon second or third place would be my expectation. I don't know.
Personally, I think I would stick with a first of either Leon or sorry, not Leon, Ryan or VJ. Not sure what kind of fitness VJ's in because we've not seen him do much since the Spartan World Champs, but he is. I mean, he seems to always be in very, very good shape, and he's very fast. Yeah. Maybe a little bit longer than his usual course, but he's very fast and he's very strong. So I would be very surprised to see VJ out of the top two. I don't know as much about Sean as I do about the other three, so it's hard to comment. It is hard to comment, but the only thing I'll say is that Leon has little legs compared to these three. They're long, and he runs really fast. But they make up that distance. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Ryan, VJ, Sean is my prediction. I might be totally wrong.
I think you're right about Ryan and VJ coming 1-2. I think the battle between Sean and Leon is going to be really close. Sean is still, I would say, new to the sport. I know he's been in it for a couple years now, but he doesn't have the history that the other guys do. And I think that could make a little bit of a difference. Although Sean has shown out to a lot of Savages now, so he does have Savage-specific experience over Leon. But Leon is really obstacle proficient, so
he's incredibly obstacle proficient, and he has recently just kind of quit everything else to become a full-time athlete. Almost full-time, I think. So he's focusing a lot more on his fitness and his performance than he was in the past. So the levels he was reaching in the past, that was alongside working 2 jobs, I think. So, maybe that he's had enough time, maybe to build up enough power to place in the top 3. I'd love to see him there. I've not seen him perform since last year. So
yeah. So you mentioned this might be a little bit long for VJ, but he talked about how last year he really put a big focus in increasing his engine because of the Spartan Series, and they have a beast. So that is I think it's about a 15K or something like that. So VJ typically was a short distance runner, and he transitioned his training to be more long distance. Here we've got a brief view of the guys. Sean, VJ,
it looked like
and Ryan.
It looked like Ryan, Sean, and VJ. 1, 2, 3, from what I could briefly tell. And I'm going off height there. I love it when people wear distinctive clothing.
Yes, it's helpful. Oh, here we have pedal for the medal. So this is a leg burning exercise. It looks fairly simple on the screen. If we, looks like we're walking away from it. Okay, we've got some people already out of it, I see. This isn't the lead guys,
So that was
I don't
obstacle
think.
number 4. And there's Leon. No idea what position, but we could guess at least 5th there. So and Ian, let's talk about Ian as well, because we've not mentioned him. Ian Hozek, he's here today.
Oh, I didn't know he was here today. He will be a good
There's been a few last minute additions.
Do you think that was Ian right in front of Leon?
It could
possibly?
have been, yeah. Yeah, which if we're going to put 2 and 2 together and make 5, then it looked like it was a Ryan, Sean, VJ, Ian, Leon.
Yeah,
and
that would be
I'm
my
completely guessing
guess.
there, which is how the beginning of races always start, and then we eventually get there. So the women warming up, they'll be starting in a few minutes.
So pedal for the medal, that's obstacle number 4. Next, they'll be going into lumberjack lane.
Last
so
time
that
we saw
is their
that
log
almost
carry.
at the end, didn't we?
It was near the end, yeah, I think so. And then they've got 2 obstacles inside of the carry. So lumberjack lane, again, that's the carry. Block party is obstacle number 6 inside. And it looks like that's what they're doing now. So they've got to have carry that log and pull that cinder block and keep going. Interesting. I've never seen that before in a Savage.
Looks pretty nasty.
And then they also have a low crawl
with the log.
Yeah, so Savage does like to do that. They like to put you through things. Sometimes there's a water obstacle like we saw last time. So I always think that's fun to make the carry a little bit more interesting.
Interesting or difficult, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
So we just saw there at Block Party, which is sliced into Lumberjack Lane, what we're assuming is Ian and Leon again together. We've not had our eyes on the top 3 again, but hopefully we can get that to you soon. We are looking at the little cameras we can see here on the sides, but so far there's not a clear picture out there. At the minute, this is the women getting ready. They'll be lining up soon to start. Just a reminder, we have the top 4 women from last time, which is Chris Rogowski, Alexandra Walker, Jamie Horonopoulos and Rachel Waters. And we also have our eyes on Heather Golnick and Miranda Kielpinski today. So there's a very stacked field for both the men and the women racing today.
Okay.
Hopefully we see some good battles happening because, yeah, like you say last time around, it was very much kind of Ryan ran away with number 1, but Chris also ran away with the top spot for the women. So,
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see the same thing happen again. But I know Alex is eager to close the gap. And I think that, you know, everybody likely had a little bit of an off season through the winter. So I'm excited to see how everybody's fitness kind of changes as the year progresses. So we might see those gaps close as people get in a little bit of better shape.
Well, actually, talking about that, Chris Rogowski did an ultra last weekend, I think, 100-kilometer. So she's out running on fast legs today after putting her endurance legs on last weekend. So, I mean, she does this a lot. She goes from event to event, and they're often very, very varied, and she manages to... here you go. Here's the weather for you. She always manages to perform, but let's see.
Yeah, and I wonder if for Chris, 100K doesn't even feel that long anymore compared to 100 plus miles and 24-hour Tough Mudders and things like that.
Very possible. So there we see Jamie. Chris in slightly different colors from what I'm used to.
Yeah, changing it up this year. So Chris is the one in the blue shorts with the like crew height, I'm guessing mud gear socks. as opposed to Jamie is all the way on the left with the tattoos, the blue shorts, and the tall compression socks. So we've
Jamie
got
and
2 blue
Chris are
shorts.
dressed incredibly similarly.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we have the socks and the tattoos to identify them.
Yeah. And their hair is a bit different. Jamie typically has it in a braid or something. Here we go.
And off they go. Jamie's
And
starting
we've
out
got-
strong. From what we can see from the picture, Jamie seems to be running well. Who's in the pink shorts there? I know it's a terrible picture, but can you make it out?
It is Alex. I saw that before the start. So that was nice
Fantastic.
of her to be nice and bright, so we'll be able to pick her out of a crowd.
Always love the distinctive outfits. It's one of the things I love about what Rylan wears is because, I mean, you can recognize him very well, I think, but he wears such distinctive clothes that are very kind of his brand, should I say, and it makes life very easy.
Definitely.
Alrighty, so we don't have much of a picture at the minute, so you're stuck with our faces, I'm afraid. Don't forget to subscribe to the OCR report so that you can get coverage. We try and do this week in, week out, all the different kind of races, both hybrid and OCR. We are the official broadcast partners of Savage Race, and you can find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe.
I didn't notice Miranda Kilpinski at the start, so I'm curious if we'll get a view of her and what she was wearing to kind of help us identify, because she's another one, and then also Heather Golnick. So yeah, curious to see if we'll see them in the beginning.
Strange for them to not be up front because they have a good chance of performing today. So, especially on such a short race, you kind of want to be right at the front of a start line.
Yeah, they might have been. I think we were so focused on Chris and Jamie and kind of talking about their outfits that I personally wasn't paying too much attention about the others, trying to burn into my memory who's wearing what. So I bet they were up there. We just didn't notice them.
Yeah, possibly. I love that. We're too busy concentrating on their outfits. Well done, guys. Well done. So currently we don't actually have any good pictures being able to come through to you. I do apologize. The coverage is very, very patchy, but we do have the leaders, so I'll update with those. So currently it's Sean, followed by Ryan, followed by VJ, which is a bit of a mix-up from what I thought, but we've still got time to go. Have we any idea what obstacle they're at?
I know they finished the carry, so they're at least through obstacle 5, 6, and 7. They've got to be past 8 and 9 by now as well, which is squeeze play and shoots and ladders, if I had to make a gather.
Shoots and ladders was a new for 2023 obstacle, wasn't it? We didn't get to see much of it last time.
Yeah, but that's the fun one where you grab a ring and you slide down a pole. I think you transition to a rope ladder, and then you have another ring and you slide down a second time and hit the bell. So that one looks really fun, especially for open waivers. I think that's a really cool one.
Yeah, it does look like a good obstacle. Are there any obstacles here today that you think could cause people problems?
Well, I'm really curious to see how that new one that had some controversy last time, the throwing one, ring sling, was that what it was
Sling
called?
ring.
Sling ring, yeah. So I'm curious if that's going to cause a shakeup. There was some feedback, I think, to make the poles longer so they wouldn't bounce off as easily. So I'm curious if they did that. From the pictures I saw beforehand, it looked like they might have made that a little bit longer. So that might help. But I think that could shake things up. Last time we didn't see any trouble on the rig. So maybe 5 guys are really obstacle proficient. But give and take is a new obstacle today. So that'll be fun. It's kind of like a mixture between OCR World Championship. They have the gibbons. And then last year, Savage Race had anchors away. So it's kind of a mix where you have a ring in one hand and a peg in the other hand, and you have to switch from using the ring on the anchor to using the peg in the gibbon. So that could shake things up. But again, the top athletes are getting to be so obstacle proficient that and these obstacles and these athletes specifically, I'm not sure that we're going to see too much difficulty, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, that's obstacle 18 of 26. Well,
And we're
25
getting a
because rhythm
view.
race is not in the pro.
Sorry, that was a quick view of the rig that just went by.
Oh, fantastic. There was a little bit of controversy last time as well about bell ringing, which actually caused a bit of discussion online, which very often turns out unpleasant. Ultimately, marshals have the last word at events, and you can only listen to marshals, and what they say goes. They have a huge amount of trust and power, and hopefully we won't see that again today. But as it was, sorry, I've just had an update. I just got distracted. Sean Roberts has a very good lead on Ryan Kempson. We are hearing, so a bit of a mix-up from last time. So still Sean Roberts, Ryan, followed by VJ in the top 3.
I'm a little surprised to hear that.
Mm.
Now, Sean did finish in second place last time, so he was the closest to Ryan. But to hear that the tables have turned is interesting because the course is a little bit different. Florida is much different than Georgia. So I wonder if the course is playing to Sean's advantage more because I think he comes from a track background, which means he would be a little bit more of a short distance runner, track and cross country, I think. So the shorter distance is better, and possibly the flatter course versus Georgia was a little bit hilly and much more technical terrain. Ooh, we've got a Kempson sighting.
Kempson in the wild.
Obstacle number 12.
Amazing. Savage Race are very good at numbering their obstacles to make everything very easy for everyone. So thanks. Obstacle number 12, yes. Me So Thorny.
Yeah, and so that one's not too difficult.
Yeah, there is a bit of a gap. So there's a gap ahead of him, and it appears a gap behind him. We've not seen VJ yet.
Yeah, I'm glad we're catching some sightings back there through the woods, although it's a bit choppy. Got some guys finishing up quiet, Lumberjack Lane. Sorry, Francesca.
Just remind everyone that the next... That's absolutely fine. I do apologise to anyone listening if we talk over each other slightly. There's a little bit of a delay, so sometimes we can catch each other up. So the next Savage Pro race is on May 20th in Maryland. You can sign up today if you want to take part at savagerace.com and watch the action live with us only on the OCR report. Yeah. And don't forget, if you want to support us, you can become a Patreon member. Find us at the OCR report. And here you go, a short-term discount code. So this is valid for any Savage Race. It's 20% off, but it expires on the 14th of this month. So get that used and get signed up to a Savage Race. Here we go. Another sighting of Kempson. Oh, so we can see there, Sean is ahead of him, but not hugely ahead of him. I can see a body running that I'm assuming is Sean in front. He's still got eyes on him. He's not completely out of reach. And this again is where obstacle course racing comes into his own, because if it's just racing, running, that's quite a big distance. But when it comes to the possibility of a failed obstacle, that gap can close very, very, very quickly, or it can extend by a lot more very quickly.
Yeah, and Kempson is one of those people that. When I think of athletes that get in and out of obstacles quickly, he's probably number one in the list. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to close that gap a little bit on obstacles, just from being 3 seconds faster here, 3 seconds faster there, and all of a sudden your 15-second gap is narrowed down.
So there we've got Chris Rogowski run past, followed by Alexandra Walker. Thank you for wearing those bright pink shorts. Oh, is that second and third? So Chris and Alex, but I'm not sure if I missed information there. Chris is in second. Who's in first? Oh no, Chris is in first. I was going to say, because if Chris is in first and Alex is in second, Chris is in second, Alex in third, who's in first? Yeah. Okay, so we're seeing similar to last time. Chris followed by Alex. Let's see if they
And
can
Jamie
hold on to these positions.
Nice job.
And Jamie
coming up in third. Yeah. And they're all still pretty
Nice.
close, and I think they were coming up on sling ring. Oh, pedal for the metal,
And there
sorry.
we've got Ryan on twist. Is it twist and shout? It gets so confusing. We've got twist for life at Worlds, and now there's twist and shout. I start to get confused by all obstacle names. I really hate the look at that one.
Yeah, me too. It doesn't look all that fun. I wonder if it even could make you a little bit dizzy. Maybe running after that could be a little challenging depending on how quickly you roll.
And if you have a ponytail in, you
Oh.
just know it's going to get stuck.
Yeah.
Here we go. They're the top 3 women, and I can see a few more women coming in behind, I think.
Good job, Jamie.
So that was Chris, Alex, and Jamie in the top 3 for the women. Yeah, I can see what you mean. That looks like a real burner, that one.
Yeah.
Oof.
I feel like that might have been Heather Goldnick or Miranda Kilpinski in the whitish top. I've seen Miranda wear the OCR Dream Team top before, so I wonder if that's what she was wearing. And this might be Rachel Waters, I think, coming out in 4th.
4th.
Cool. So for the women,
Good
we're
job.
seeing
You're 4th.
Not Rachel
so
Waters.
far.
I'm not sure.
No. Sorry, I was just making notes. There's Leon getting into Twist and Shout, and I can't see who's next to him.
Nice job, girls.
That can't be VJ next to him. There was a very tall man with dark hair.
I think the ladies for 5th and 6th, that might have been Emily. Is there an Emily on the list? Emily Kate or something like that. And then I saw Miranda Kilpinski as well. So that was 5th and 6th.
Do we have a 4th for the women?
I wasn't sure who it was. I saw her go by. I didn't recognize her. So I apologize for that. Oh, I'm sorry. It might have been Casey Monroe was that 5th or 6th spot. Have to remind myself of the names sometimes.
Once you get to know people, you know them so well you can recognize them by their running style, but sometimes it can take a while. I'm glad I've got you here to help. There are some American athletes I'm not so up with, doing mostly international competitions, so it's very, very helpful to have you here, Miranda. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, so we don't have much sound coming from the cameras for some reason.
Alex was moving fast with that log.
Yeah, they're almost neck and neck there.
Yeah.
And yeah. Jamie. So, I mean, they're still very close together. Obstacle 6 of 26 block party. Chris, Alex, and Jamie. Chris and Jamie wearing the same outfit is fantastic. Slightly confusing. But yeah, they are very, very close together. I mean, we're only 13 minutes in, so we've still got plenty of time to go, but they're in lumberjack lane. They're certainly keeping it tight.
Yeah, and you can see there's a little gap forming. We don't see 4th coming into view quite yet. So I wouldn't be surprised if these top 3 ended up on the podium.
Nice job, ladies.
Got a few more ladies entering lumberjack lane.
We've got our rabbits out looking for more men. They have to be out on the buggies because the men are so fast.
Giant Jenga.
I think the men are really getting through the obstacles now.
The women are coming! The women are coming!
Yes.
Hurry up, they're gonna get you! They're gonna get you! They're gonna pinch your butt! They have cooties!
So that's one of our rabbits that you might know better as Bubbles the Clown. He's very enthusiastic and I mean, I adore him, but also very, very silly. So here we go, Ryan. Making light work of that.
This is obstacle number 15, Kiss My Walls. And then coming up pretty quickly after this, we're going to have Rhythm Race, which I think the pros are bypassing.
Yes, I think that's not going to be in the Pro Wave.
So they're still trying to finalize the details on that. So Savage Race does a great job doing that when they have a new obstacle. First, they introduce it to the open wave. That way it doesn't make any difference for money, and that way they can iron out any details that they need to. So they're still working on that one. So no Pro Wave today, but it will be in the open waves. And then after that, we've got Blazed, which is a fire jump typically, and then Give and Take. So they'll be hitting that in about a half a mile.
Ooh, a fire jump. Nice. So this is third place that we just saw being pointed out coming towards us. VJ?
This is VJ.
Yeah. Followed by Leon.
But
so they're reasonably there's a big gap. The battle for third could exist, but first and second it seems very strongly Sean and Ryan. This is VJ coming through Kiss My Walls, which we just saw Ryan doing but a couple of minutes ago. Well, I don't know, maybe a minute ago. And VJ Leon stretching out.
Very different strategies there. So Leon is grabbing the ends, and VJ was using the tops and bottoms like a pinch grip. So interesting to see the differences there. And I believe that is Ian. Yes. Yeah.
So a little bit of a battle in for third, fourth, fifth with VJ, Leon, and Ian. That will be interesting. But first and second, quite set. And here are the women back again. Nicely spaced out. Chris Rogloski, Alexander Walker, and Jamie Horonopoulos. The little gaps, which aren't so little in real life.
Yes. With obstacle racing, it can always be a little bit. Here's Give and Take. It's our first time seeing this in a Pro Wave.
Sean Roberts and Give and Take. This is.
Now, somebody asked me if I thought you'd be able to skip stuff, but the fact that you have to switch, that was a nice jump.
But what do you have to take your? That was beautiful, but you have to replace your accessories, I'm guessing, like at Worlds. So you leave something behind and run on. You still have to go back. But has that given Ryan any time? Ryan
I thought he
made
was
it
going to have
through.
to retry. But
why did you see?
I couldn't tell. The camera was a little choppy, but so I wasn't sure if he hit the bell or not. So yeah, somebody asked me if they thought you'd be able to just skip, because if you look at it, it looks like a short obstacle. It looks like things aren't spaced super far apart, but because you have to alternate from the ring to the gibbon, you can't really skip a whole lot. Here's Chris a little stuck.
What's this obstacle that they're at? What are they on here?
Wow.
Squeeze play. We didn't see this last time. Yeah, Chris, a little bit stuck there.
Yeah, this is squeeze play. Sometimes those barrels are pretty tight. Alex made it through much easier.
But here's Jamie going for the same one as Chris. Oh, but she did it okay.
Yeah. So Chris lost a couple seconds there, but
she did. I was there looking at the end thinking they were going to have to crawl through elastics as well. Thank God they didn't. Here we go, VJ. I mean, this boy has such long reach. Oh. This is a really mean obstacle. I'm looking forward to seeing Leon do this. He is fabulous on the upper body stuff.
This is proving to be slightly more difficult than I anticipated. I didn't think the pros were going to have any trouble.
Oh my gosh, just look at the way, that was textbook. Absolutely beautiful. He made up a few seconds, and he can, if he gets another opportunity like that, he'll easily be able to take the third place away. Obviously,
and just like that,
the running disparities between the two of them, but that was just so beautifully done by Leon. Absolutely.
It really was. Yeah, and just like that, the gap goes from 15 seconds to 0. So it doesn't take much.
This is the difficulty. It's the difficulty, I guess, in designing courses that are going to be run by pros and open wave, because there's no way I could do half of these obstacles anymore. So, it has to still be fun for me, but the pros are getting so competent at the upper body stuff that it's not really changing anything in terms of placing, and it's not, we're struggling to see obstacles that make massive differences.
Yeah.
There we just saw it. You don't want things to be impossible, but you want the obstacles to have a purpose, so it's not just a running race. And that's, disgusting obstacle, gotta say, awful, but really good in a pro race, really good.
Yeah, for viewers, that's what I want to see. I want to see some shake up at obstacles. I want to see that, just taking a couple seconds longer can make a difference. It's much more exciting.
Overtaking an obstacle is always my favorite thing.
Yeah, and just a second ago, we saw Jamie get through chutes and ladders. And what was interesting to me is she really had some momentum going on that ring that you slide down. I was afraid she was going to slip off at the end pretty quick. And so if you've got that momentum and you're moving fast and you miss the bell, just because you're moving too quickly and your hands slip, you're going to have to retry. So I could see that one making a difference too, just because of how quickly she accelerated down that ramp.
That's a valid point, but I think you could also apply that to sling ring. The obstacle we were mentioning earlier, where you throw the tire that has to stick on the pole. If you throw it with too much force, it's going to bounce off because that force is going to transfer. Blah blah blah. Yeah. And so it's interesting where there has to come in technique in order to not go too hard on things. Gibbons, Force 5, who made Gibbons, I think their tagline for it was like, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And we saw that with Leon there. It's like, taking your time to get through it really quickly.
Yeah. We saw the first two guys on that obstacle kind of got caught-ish in the middle, and then they decided to just kind of last-ditch effort, or I shouldn't say last-ditch, but they decided to skip the last couple handholds and jump to the bell, and it worked out. But Leon decided to, like you said, take the slower strategy, or not necessarily slower, more calculated, and just went through the obstacle. And because he was so smooth with it, I don't think he lost any time.
I think
here we've got
time.
sling ring.
He was so nice. Excellent. Let's see what happens here. So Sean Roberts still in first place as far as we can tell on sling ring, obstacle 21.
Yeah, sad we didn't get to see that. Hopefully we'll get to see Kempson. So something for the viewers, something to note, you've got that rope there, right? So it makes me think about the spear throw. You really want to make sure you're not stepping on that rope when you're throwing it. And there we go. Kempson's off.
I suck at the spear throw, and anytime I try and do like a run up and throw, I always get tangled up in the rope. The ropes make sense for sure, but yeah. So there we go. Sean Roberts and Ryan Kempson, first and second through sling ring. Super, super easy. I guess Ryan kind of learned the technique after last time, but that did not slow anyone down.
It appeared to me that the poles were longer, so I think that helps with it not bouncing off as easily. And also, now that you've seen it once, I'm sure that makes a difference too.
Well, for VJ
here we've got another.
Their first go.
That's true.
Tree Hugger 2.0. Easy.
So here we are. We're coming into the finish line. So Tree Hugger is obstacle number 22 out of 26. So there's only 4 obstacles left and less than half a mile. So they are really coming into the finish here.
And they're really doing it speedily. So last time I think the men finished was about 45 minutes. And I think it was a slightly shorter course. So these guys are speeding through. What's the terrain like here compared to Georgia? Do you know, Miranda?
I've not done this course specifically, but the Florida races generally, I've heard, are very flat, and the terrain is pretty light, not very wooded or anything like that. You can see this is just like a big field. So kind of what you're seeing, I think, is the expectation. Flat, easy running. So is Sean still number 1? Is he in the lead right now?
As far as we're aware, yeah, he's still number 1. Yep. So just a quick reminder to anyone watching, this is a copyrighted broadcast presented by Savage Race and the OCR report. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the OCR report. Unfortunately, we have to be a little bit strict because as media gets bigger, things happen. But yeah, this is copywritten material, guys, just so you're aware.
Here we have Sean on the rig.
Nice and fabric. So do they change up these holes for every event, or do they stay the same?
The rig does
It always
typically
gets me the foot bell. Always amazed you're still allowed to do that. Ryan right behind him. I wonder how much. Oh gosh, he's so close. He's so close behind him. This is such a dangerous point because he's
That was a
taking
big
absolute
move.
risks. It was a huge move, and he
Yeah.
really wants to catch up with him, doesn't he?
I just don't think there's enough real estate left for him to catch him, but you never know. Here we are,
He's
obstacle
certainly
number
putting the work in.
25. Yeah.
Mega. I mean, let's not
Yeah, so
forget, so
this-
for these races and for the series, there are payouts. So for both male and female, first place is 1,250, second 750, and third is 350. So it's worth it. You know, for these athletes, that catch-up is absolutely worth it. And for them, for the series, we've got a $3,000 payout, 1,500, 750, 500, and 250. So the places make a big difference. It's, you know, guys, people want podiums, but professional athletes also need the paycheck. So there's going to be a lot of motivation to get there. A few seconds will be very frustrating.
Yeah, for sure. And with the cost of airfare and lodging and all that sort of stuff, it can make a big difference in if that race was worth it for you, especially for these big name pros.
Mm. Yeah, it's a big conversation at the minute. Here we go, Leon coming up the hill.
So this
Who's
must be
behind him?
Leon in third with VJ
Yeah.
Jones in fourth behind him.
Whoa!
So I think
Well,
that
we missed where he made that big gap, but he really pulled away there. Coming up to the rig, this is going to be really nice.
yes,
I'm a big fan of Leon. I can't hide it. He is. I've worked with him and known him a long time, and I think he's a great person and a fantastic athlete. I also love VJ, and I love the other guys as well, but I really admire Leon's technique.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people say, so I haven't talked to Leon personally, but I've heard that he's just an all-around great person. So he made a skip there. That was a nice big move.
Beautiful,
Nice and
so
smooth.
easy. I mean, I'm not, when I say like he has a shorter wingspan and shorter legs, I'm not being unnecessarily unkind. He does, and it can be difficult. I mean, we can see here how long VJ is.
Yeah.
That's difficult for him because he's actually quite close to the ground. So for both of them, they're facing challenges there because of their height. VJ has to keep his feet off the ground, and Leon has quite long reaches to make with less of a wingspan. He manages it beautifully because he has that strength. But yeah, there's no perfect shape yet for us here.
Yeah. Like you said, it makes a
Not a huge
difference
gap
for
there.
different obstacles. So it's not necessarily that one way is an advantage over the other. They both have different strengths.
Mm.
But yeah, it was interesting to see the difference with how VJ had to really bend his knees to keep him off the ground.
Mm. Here we go. We're right at the finish line.
Yeah, so here's VJ finishing in fourth. They've got this one last obstacle. This is Shriveled Richard, which is an ice bucket that you've got to go through. It's kind of nice for it to be at the finish line, so by then you're nice and hot.
So here we go. So we missed the top two men going over the finish line, unfortunately, but we did catch them approaching it. Oh, VJ's. Well, thanks for that, VJ. So from what we understand, our top four men, it's not confirmed, but from what we can assume, was Sean Roberts, Ryan Kempson, Leon Cofford, and VJ Jones in fourth. So we were assuming we would have those, and there's Ian in fifth. We're assuming that we would have those guys in fourth, not necessarily in that order. So that's very interesting. In fact, that's completely mixed up from what I first... I'm completely wrong from what I predicted.
Yeah, you didn't believe my Leon over VJ prediction.
I'm sorry, Leon. I just...
I didn't trust my prediction either. You never know. It's gonna shake. What's gonna shake up?
So nice though to see a bit of a mix-up. I mean, we had years in men's racing of always knowing who was going to come first, and it kind of took a lot of the excitement of the men's racing away, and it was about the women for me. And I absolutely love watching the women and support them 100%, but it's really, really nice to see competition coming back to the men's races and to see them battling against each other and to never quite know who's going to place where. It really makes it so much more exciting. And I imagine it must be really exciting for them. It must be a bit depressing to kind of be like, oh, John Albon's there. Well, may as well not bother. I love John. I'm just saying, this is exciting.
Yeah. That's how I feel when I have to race against Chris Roglowski.
You're so fast.
I would feel the
Who does
same.
it?
So there's
So
Rachel.
here
I
we've-
mean, Alexandra.
Yeah. We can tell it's Alex with those bright pink shorts. So that's nice.
I mean, if any of the pro athletes watch this afterwards, really, 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 these bright clothes and distinctive clothes are so incredibly helpful. I mean, you wear what you want and what you're comfortable in, but for us, you're gonna get your name said. You're gonna get your name said a
Ooh.
lot more if we can.
I
recognize
think
it
we
that
had
quickly.
a difference. That's Jamie
Ooh.
ahead of Alex.
That
So
is-
there was a change. And I think what you said happened. It looked like Jamie got her hair stuck. Oh, she's out
Is
though.
that Jamie as Chris?
Oh, it is Chris. You're right.
Go, baby. Yeah. Let's go.
Okay, not a change.
Chris followed by Alex. Yeah, so for men who don't have long hair, or for women who don't have long hair, when you race and you wear your hair in like a bun or these ponytail plaits that are very popular with women at the minute, it can be such a pain going through these cargo nets and getting stuck. You can see it's the perfect size, and it's so frustrating.
A lot of them will get.
But I don't really know what you're meant to do with all your hair otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've still got the top three: Chris Roglowski, Alexandra Walker, and Jamie Horonopoulos. They are very, very close together, and that was them going through
Oh,
Twist and
We're doing
Shout.
this for-
That's obstacle 13. So we were talking before about the obstacles. Rhythm race isn't in here. It is in our obstacle list, which gets a bit confusing. This happened last time. So there's technically 25 obstacles that the racers are competing on today, but there are 26. So then, because rhythm race isn't in the pro wave, if that makes sense. So we're waiting for them here at Sling Ring.
And they've got a little bit of a run between after Twist and Shout. There's a quite long stretch of running with no obstacles.
Oh, here's another discount code for you. This is different from the other one. It has a longer expiry date, but only till the 21st of this month. This is for 25% off Florida 2023. So Florida is the compulsory race that anyone who's doing the Pro Series must take part in. It's the final race of the Pro Series in November, but there is a 25% discount code for you to get a little bit of money off if you want to take part in it.
Kind of everyone.
This is Johnny Mares with Grit Fitness.
Awesome.
Coming through that new obstacle. I can't quite remember
Shelf help?
the name.
Was it shelf
Yes,
help?
thank you. Yep.
So just a reminder as well, we mentioned this at the beginning of the coverage, but you can become a Patreon member of the OCR report. We have a lot of different levels of support that you can give, but for less than $5 a month, you can help us live stream races like this, doing them every single week. And a lot of people put a lot of work into this, so your support would be so greatly appreciated. You can find the link in our YouTube notes and more information on our Instagram page at the OCR report. Please do help us out because this is not easy to do. There's so much work that happens behind the scenes that you have no idea about. And whilst we're talking about behind the scenes, let's give a quick shout out again to our rabbits, the two Jessicas, Rachel and Kevin, and of course Jason Dupree, our producer, who you do not ever see but is working tirelessly behind the scenes. So this is the second race of the series. So those wins today will change the series leaderboards, where Ryan and Sean will be joint first now. They should both have 199 points because they both won one and come second in one. So that's pretty interesting. And Rylan wasn't here today. So that's creating really nice competition there between Sean and Ryan going
Yeah, I think it's a nice way to start the series with the shakeup in 1 and 2. That way you're not it just makes the series more interesting, right? As it goes on, those first places are really going to make a difference. So on the next race, if they continue to go back and forth, that last race is just going to mean a lot.
You've raced the series. You raced it last year. You placed quite highly. Where did you place? 5th or 6th?
6th place last year.
6th place. What's it like, kind of taking part in this series? I mean, because like we said, a first place is 100 points, second 99, third 98, fourth 97, etc., etc. So the first 100 people get points, but those points, like, they make a huge difference very quickly, don't they?
They do. So the top 3 could be shaken up, although Chris last year had quite a bit of a lead because she had won like 3 out of the 5 races or something. So it was it would have been hard for them to catch her. There was a tie, I think, with 2nd and 3rd place, so that could really shake things up. And 4th place had a reasonable gap too. Now, with 5th and 6th place, because of how the points work, I was kind of so far behind that there wasn't really any way for me to make up ground and move up from 6th to 5th. But so yeah, those points make a difference.
I just got really confused there because I saw a lady in a pink. I saw Alexandra come up to the wall, and then a lady in a pink bra walk away from the wall. And for a second, my brain got confused, thinking it was her. So there we go, Chris Rogowski and Alexandra Walker going through there, very close together still. I mean, Alex really keeps on Chris's tail. Chris is very, very fast and competent, and Alex is really doing a good job of keeping up with her, which, I mean, it's very impressive.
This is a much smaller
Jamie,
gap than we saw last time at this point in the race. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the next mile. They've got about a mile left.
What's Alex's obstacle proficiency like? Because we've still got give and take to go, right?
We do. We have give and take. We have the rig. So Alex is pretty obstacle proficient. But it seems that as she's increased her endurance and her running ability, she's now having to learn, I think, how to attack the obstacles with a higher heart rate. So I've seen that make a shakeup. Like last year in the Spartan series, she had a couple times where she just like missed a bell or something, like on Olympus. I think that happened once or twice. So typically she's really obstacle proficient, but every once in a while, she says she just, something happens, you miss the bell, you never know.
She'll be going, give and take. We saw the guys struggle on a little bit and Leon get a bit of a head start over VJ on that obstacle. That's number 18 of 25. Well, 17 of 25, 18 of 26. So, it is a chance for people to overtake or to take a couple of seconds. But Chris is very, very good on the obstacles, so...
Yeah, I really hope we get to see the ladies.
How they take it on.
Yeah, I really want to see them do that. So I did see a video of Alex Walker completing that obstacle after the last race. So she has tried it, as I'm sure all the ladies likely went back and tried it after the race.
Here we go, our top 3 women currently: Chris Rogowski, Alexander Walker, and Jamie Horonopoulos.
Great work. Keep it up.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Chilling, dude.
How are you doing? All right. Hey, you're doing great. Good job. Good job. Good job. Great job. Nice. Hey, good job.
Nice job.
See as the season progresses if we're going to see any guys, maybe some taller guys like VJ Jones, make big dramatic jumps straight to that middle. I feel like they could do it if they were eager enough to make that kind of move. So curious about that.
I suppose it's tricky if there's always that choice to be made over taking a risk when it's worth it and when it's not worth it. Because if you have got a head start, it's not really worth taking the risk, because if you fall, then I don't know, do you need that time? Yeah. But then also similarly, in the middle of a intense competition, do you take the risk and fall further back? It's always really difficult. But yeah, once they become really proficient, it'll just be a jumping as far as you can.
Yeah.
It looks like a horrible grip though. I wouldn't want to be grabbing that.
So I think where I would see people making that risk is if it was towards the end,
right there?
maybe like less than a mile towards the finish. And if you had maybe first or second place were close in front of you, and maybe you had a little bit of gap on somebody behind you, it would be worth the risk because you'd have that little extra room behind you, but it could close that gap to get higher up on the podium.
A bit like we saw on Ryan on the Savage rig. Like he took a huge risk on that rig to try and make up a few seconds. It was a bit late, but he took the risk, and it was really nice.
A bit late, but you never know. I mean, somebody could get their foot stuck in the cargo net, something
Always
silly like that.
Always worth it.
Yeah. I always have to remind myself of that during the race, because sometimes if you get a little gap in front of you, it can be a little put you in that negative headspace, and I have problems with that sometimes, and I have to remind myself, okay, you can catch them even if you don't think there's anything that can make a difference in the future. Like I said, it can be as simple as getting your foot stuck in a cargo net, and that can make a difference. So
I mean,
you
have
want
no
to really
idea what people are doing ahead of you.
No. You've really got to drill for every second. Here we've got our Chris sighting. She's looking strong. She's such a smooth runner.
She's so gorgeous on the obstacles as well. Like,
yeah,
she always she does them so proficiently, but she looks so nice as well. Like she's always smiling. Yeah. I don't.
She doesn't look like she's working that hard, but I assure you, she's running much faster than we think. Yeah.
It's
and sometimes I look at
this
and I'm like, yeah, that looks like a 10-minute pace. No, it's probably like an 8. She just makes, or a 7, but she makes it look simple.
Yeah, when you see her across the finish line, and she doesn't really look like she's been working. Like I run 100 meters, and it's a thing of mine that I become beetroot red when I do just a little bit of exercise. I turn into a beetroot, and she comes across the line looking like you and I are sitting here. Yes. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think I've heard her admit in the past before that there's not too many races where she actually has to give like 100 or 110%. It seems like she finishes a lot of the times and feel like she has more to give. But I also wonder if that's because she's been so focused on endurance runs that's it's just a different thing, right? So you might feel like you've got more in the tank, but you can only run super fast for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I find I've been doing more long distance, and we're still not talking long distance, but I've been doing further distance running. And now I really struggle with, like, yesterday I went out for a 5K, and it was hell. It was so difficult because it's just, I'm not used to running faster and shorter distances. So if it was me in that position, it would be like, cool, endurance. No, like short is really hard. So I'm surprised she says, I'm surprised that that's the theory.
Yeah. All right, so here's
She's so
Chris
cool
on
and
shelf
casual.
help. Yep. Obstacle number 20. So they've got less than a mile, I believe, to the finish line, or maybe about a mile. Here we've got Alex coming into it in second.
Will be interesting to see the gap between them, between the first race and this race, whether it's a similar kind of gap. Easy.
She had me nervous
She's
at
close
first.
behind.
I thought her foot was in between that rope, but she moved it at the last second.
I mean, they are some bright shorts. They're fabulous.
Go, Alex. Good job. Let's go, Jamie!
Jamie not far behind. So the top three women reasonably close. We're not going to be seeing, highly unlikely that we'll be seeing any changes there, but the three of them are pretty close together.
Yeah, I'm glad to see a smaller gap this time. It's still enough of a gap that I don't see any changes likely, although like we've talked about, you never know what can happen, but it is more exciting if they're a little bit closer together, so glad to see that.
A bit of a struggle there for Jamie.
Let's go, Jack! You're first place!
Yeah, so the downside to those making those pulls longer, miss for her, is that I did see that it looked like everybody has had to pull and tug harder on that rope to get it off. So it helps with sticking, but there we go. Good throw.
Yeah, it looked quite tricky for her there. Is this in the picture-in-picture? Is that Chris going through the... It's not a bit patchy signal, but I think we just had Chris going through the Savage rig. No, can't. Yeah? I don't know. No, it can't have been. And now we just have her running beautifully. So it must have been, the little pitch that we got was Chris going through Tree Hugger, probably. And yeah, here's Yank My Chain, which comes after Tree Hugger and before the Savage rig. So we're coming up into the end straight now. Chris still looking super strong.
Chris is sporting those Savage Race shorts. I have those. Here we've got Alex coming into Yank My Chain. And so for those viewers that saw Chris drop the chain, that is legal in Savage Race. So that is different than some of our competitors where you have to lower it slowly to the ground. But in Savage, once you hit the top, then you can drop it and move on. You just got to make sure, again, that the rope isn't tangled up in your leg or you could go upside down or something. But I haven't seen that happen. So.
Yeah, the lowering it down and the kicking of the bell, that's very different from what we know from Spartan Race, for example, where those are quite heavy rules. So every time I see that, I'm like, oh, cool. So here's Chris at the rig.
Yeah, and typically a little slip there, but she stayed on. Typically,
Less
Savage does put their
congested.
bells. Sorry, but they put their bells a little bit lower, so the kicking isn't super dangerous because you're not having to get it up high or anything.
Yeah. The obstacles at this point are kind of less congested than they were last time, John, when we spoke about the women racing amongst the men, but we're not seeing that here. The women are kind of have an awful lot of space.
Yeah.
So that was easy for Chris, so it appeared, and here comes Alex. She's taking her time getting up to that, which is probably very sensible. She's not going to be gaining first place now, so there's no point in making a mistake.
Yeah. And you don't have to be as aggressive. She's got a little bit of a gap behind her, so. So we've got Chris on Mega, the second to last obstacle on the big screen, and the picture-in-picture. We saw Alex Walker going through the rig.
So we've got a little, there we go, there's Alex on the rig. She's
Do it,
struggling a little bit. She did have a hand on the black fabric grip and then took it back and went backwards. She's getting through now, but she's not going through as easily as Chris did. And there we go, crossing the finish line is Chris Rogloski in first place for the second Savage Pro race of the series in Gainesville. We've not had Jamie approach the rig yet from what I've seen. Oh, here she comes. Here's Jamie on the rig, and Alex will be coming up to the final obstacle.
Yeah, I'm glad Alex was able to get through, because had she fallen off there, that definitely could have shaken things up with Jamie right behind her.
And
if you saw there
at the beginning a little bit.
I think I noticed that twice now. So I think what's happening on the Savage rig, sometimes they have a two handhelds connected at the top. So when you weight one, it's going to drop down lower. There's a little bit of a gap. So I think that's what's happening here. They've started doing that.
So it's
last
not
year, the year
necessarily a
before.
slip. It's the grip moving.
Yeah, the actual handheld
Don't give up.
lowering until it hits a knot.
Got ya. Here we go. Alex coolly and casually crossing the finish line, second place. We're looking at a similar, well, the same top three as we saw for the first event. We've not had eyes on women 4 and 5, so I apologise for that, but the women have held steady with their performance to last time. The men, we had a great mix-up. We had Sean Roberts coming in first, followed by Ryan Kempson, followed by Leon Cofford and VJ Jones.
And here we've got Jamie coming in third place, going through Shriveled Richard, our very last obstacle, the ice bath. Doesn't look super icy right now, but I'm sure it's still cold.
Oh, I'm sure it's still freezing. I really, really hate those kind of cold obstacles.
Me too. Although sometimes it feels
So
nice. There was one race in Maryland last year where it was super hot and it actually felt nice.
I think the women finished faster this time than they did last time, which is interesting. We had a couple more obstacles, so whether that's down to terrain or they're all pushing a little bit harder, I don't know. So there we go. So we have our top 3 women. We'll keep our eyes out to get a few more women coming through, and also if there's a chance of any finish line interviews, we will bring them to you. But our top 3 women were Chris Rogloski, Alexander Walker, and Jamie Horonopoulos. And to recap, our top men were Sean Roberts, Ryan Kempson, Leon Cofford, VJ Jones, and Ian Hosick.
This must be our 4th place woman. I don't recognize them.
Nice job, nice job.
Nice. She made it through.
Very nice.
She's looking pretty fast here, especially for the finish line. And not too much of a gap behind Jamie. I wonder if this is a new athlete for this race or if she was also in Georgia. So in Georgia, our 4th and down placements were Christina McFarland, who's not here today, Rachel Waters, Sarah Grippy-Snyder, Jessica Shepard, Julie Harches. So those were some of those. So I'm not sure I recognize the name Sarah Grippy-Snyder, but it kind of makes me wonder if that's her, although I don't know.
I've heard of her a bit recently. She's been doing reasonably well. She's been placing on the OCR WC rankings. I'm going to quickly Google her to see what she looks like.
And here we have a Rachel Waters sighting. So I assume Rachel is in 5th here. Done with Yank My Chain. She did that real fast.
It's all up here from here! It's all up here from here! Good job, Pete. Straight up.
It very well could be, but difficult to confirm. But yeah, I've been hearing that name quite a lot lately.
So I'm looking at pictures of Sarah, and it looks like she has much more blonde hair than the person we saw in 4th. But when you're wet, your hair can be look a little bit darker, so still not sure.
Shrivels Richards right after the slip wall thing.
Here we've got Rachel Waters coming into the rig.
She seems quite tired.
And there we saw that drop again, so
Yeah.
that is definitely an obstacle design.
God, I would not cope well with that. Although she's doing this rig absolutely beautifully. She approached it quite tired, but she's going through it very fast.
Yeah, she is definitely an obstacle proficient athlete for sure.
And then we have Jack, official OCR report photographer. I'm always amazed at how fast these athletes are still running at the end of a race. Like if you're ever rabbiting and trying to keep up with them. I mean, I'm going full pelt to keep up with the last like 100 meters. They've done that for kilometers already.
Yeah.
Absolutely astounding.
So we have Rachel finishing in 5th again. So that was her same placement as the previous race. So that's going to be good news for this series. She's not too far off. There's not too much of a gap. And if she's able to improve her placement in future races, she'll be able to improve her finish. Nice. And our top 5 ladies are finished.
So we still have a mystery guest in number 4 that we've not yet identified, I'm afraid. But otherwise, it was Chris Rogowski in 1st, followed by Alexandra Walker, Jamie Haranopoulos, not entirely sure, and Rachel Waters.
So I pulled up the times. We had Chris Rogowski came in just under 50 minutes, 49:56. Alex Walker was 51:27, so just about a minute and a half behind her. And then 30 seconds after that, at 51:55, we had Jamie.
What's your name? Introduce yourself.
My name's Chris. I'm Calypso. I'm Australian. I used to be a swimmer, and now I'm, yeah.
That answers the question. That is. So you left us at that.
Alex led for maybe the first mile-ish, but then I passed her up in the creek.
You were in 4th or sorry,
I came 4th.
Same position whole race.
Yeah, I was pretty much the same position all race. I just wasn't running. The running was just so fast. I was like, next time.
You're a Savage veteran. What do you like about the horse that was different from the other horse?
I thought a lot of the obstacles were going to get pumped up towards the finish, but they were actually very easy to spread out. It's kind of, I mean, the terrain was fun. They're kind of in and out. There wasn't a lot of just like flat, like a lot of times Savage. Well, they're all particularly in flatter terrain, but still like running around. So this was really like kind of all over the place.
So, how many Savages have you done?
This is my first Savage.
All right, give us the lowdown. Why'd you come here? How was the race? What did you love? What did you?
I came here because last year I met Doreen and at Valbunga, and she told me about Savage. I was like, this sounds really cool. So I've only done a squad before, and I really like the obstacles in this one. They're really unique. I did get a bit muddier, but it was overall a lot more fun.
Parting words for someone that's sitting on the couch today watching that never done that?
You should have a new one. It's fun. You can do either the 6 mile or the 3 mile. For everybody. Yeah. I sit on the couch and watch TV when you can roll in the mud.
There you go. All right, thanks, ladies. Josh.
Thank you.
Great work, Woody.
All right, so we just heard a little race interview, and I caught her name. That was fourth place, Calypso Sheridan, her first time Savage race. So that's amazing to finish in fourth place at your very first Savage and in this field of athletes. So that was fun to see. I pulled up her Instagram.
Did she say she was a pro swimmer?
Yeah, so I pulled up her Instagram, and it says she's an NCAA All-American swimmer. It also says she's a hybrid athlete, trail runner. She's an aerospace engineer. So yeah, it looks like she's very into fitness. See some pictures of her doing a high rocks, and she said she did a Spartan race before. So yeah, it was cool to see somebody new in the field make it so high up on the finisher list.
Yeah, incredible. Hopefully we get to see her again. So let's have a quick look at the men's leaderboard after the second race today. So Sean Roberts came in first with a time of 40 minutes and 4 seconds, followed by Ryan Kempson, not too far behind at 40 minutes and 36 seconds. Leon Cofford came in third place at 42.30, and hot on his tail was VJ Jones in fourth in 42.47. Joseph Cotto we saw last time as well. He was in fifth place. He came in at 43 minutes 10 seconds, followed by Kevin Thompson, Ian Hozek, Ashton Abraham, Noel Medina, and Sam Osborne. So that will make some changes on the leaderboards for the Pro Series, which will be interesting. As we said, Sean Roberts and Ryan Kempson will be in, I guess it's joint first now, and hopefully we'll see quite a nice battle between them as the year progresses.
So when we look at this list compared to our finishing list last time, Joseph Cotto and Kevin Thompson are the same place. So they were both fifth and sixth in the first race. So that's going to be good for them points wise. Ian, I'm not sure if he's going to do the series, but this is a decent placement for him. And then I see Ashton Abraham. I know him. He's on my team. So glad to see him in the top 10 finish this time. He said he had a really rough race last time. He had some personal issues, I guess, with that race, and they can't all be perfect. So it happens. But yeah, glad to see him in that top 10 and curious to see how this continues to shake up the series.
Also, it's interesting to see, obviously Leon's travelled from Denmark. I think he only arrived yesterday. So he's just placed third place in a really stacked field with jet lag as well. So whatever he's doing is currently working. It was a really nice race. Now, we don't have the women's leaderboard filled out yet, but we can talk about the results there. The women, we had Chris Rogowski coming in first, Alexandra Walker in second, Jamie Horonopoulos in third, and then the new athlete who we couldn't identify, the unknown Calypso Sheridan in fourth. And then it was Rachel Waters in fifth as well.
Yeah, so really nice top 5 finish. Not too many surprises there on the ladies' side. So that was the same top 3, almost the same top 5. Actually, the only difference was fourth place was, instead of Chrissy McFarland, was replaced by our new athlete Calypso. So yeah, I'm curious how that's going to make a shakeup in the series, because as you get further on, if it just continues to be that same thing, then there's going to be quite a gap at the end where even if, say, Alex, if they continue to have this same placement, at the end, Alex can't simply beat Chris at the last race and make up 5 points. So she'd have to beat her by 5 placements. So it's a little more... There's a little more on the line for the next race to do a little bit better and close that gap. But we did see a smaller gap this time. So I'm curious if that was just driven by the difference in terrain, or if there is a fitness difference, people just coming up to speed. But yeah, exciting stuff.
Really exciting. Let's have a quick look at the series leaderboard for the men now. So there we have Ryan Kempson and Sean Roberts, both with 199 points. They've both won one and come second in one. Joseph Cotto in third. So even though he placed, it was fifth, wasn't it, this time and last time, because he's done 2 events, he's in third position. Your scores add up. Despite coming third this time, Leon, he's not going to place on this leaderboard because it's just not enough points yet. Kevin Thompson in fourth with 190 points. Gage Hicks in fifth with 183. And joint there is Sam Osborne with 183 points. Quite a big jump down to Johnny Maras, 170. Yeah?
Yeah, so I was just going to say 7th and 8th place are friends of mine. So Johnny Mares in 7th. So it's nice to see some names of mine from friends. So that's cool. He is from Grit Fitness. And then Freddie Thompson is also a big Savage Race nut, just like me. And he's also obstacle proficient. So glad to see him in the top 10. It's always exciting.
Amazing. And here we go, the times for the women's race. We have the top 6 filled out now. Chris Rogowski coming in first with 49.56. Second is Alexandra Walker, 51.27. Jamie Horonopoulos was not that far behind at 51.55. So yes, like you mentioned, Miranda, those top 3 are quite close together, and I think probably closer than last time. Calypso Sheridan was a big surprise for us all. We literally had no idea who she was, and she took an amazing 4th place, quite far ahead of Rachel Waters, who came in 5th. She also came in 5th last time as well, followed by 6th place, Jessica Shepherd at 1 hour, 1 minute and 41 seconds.
Yeah, so just a little shout out to Jessica Shepherd. We haven't talked about her. We didn't really get to see her much on course since she was a little bit further back. But she also finished 7th place in the first race of the series. So that's going to look good for her. She'll be in the top 10. She wanted to do the series last year and she started. So we did the Florida race, and then at the Georgia race, that course was actually so cold last year. I think it was 30 degrees at the start line, and Shriveled Richard was like upschool. It was within the first 2 miles of the course. So you go through, you're already freezing cold at the start, and then they get you even more colder with that ice bath submersion. And when we came up to the rig, she was just freezing. Her grip was not so good because her hands were cold, and she had a rough go of the rig and actually had to pull out because of she was feeling a little bit like hypothermic. So because of the way they did the series last year, you had to do all the races. So by having that one DNF, she wasn't able to complete the rest of the series. So I'm glad to see her having a better time this year, where now she's got 2 finishes, and hopefully she'll get to finish out the series in a top 10 placement.
So we'll have a quick look at the preliminary results for the women's series with just those 6 added. So this is not completely up to date because we still have women to finish. But with 2 clean wins at the top, Chris Rogowski, 2 women. I'm losing my words. 2 wins at the top with 200 points is Chris Rogowski. Second place, 198. Alexandra Walker. Jamie is coming in 3rd with 196, followed by Rachel Waters in 4th with 192, and Jessica Shepherd in 5th with 189. Now, Chrissy McFarland wasn't here today, and Calypso Sheridan took on her first event today, so they will drop down because they don't have a second race to be filling out those spots. But Sarah was here today for sure, so we should see her take a good spot, hopefully.
I was just going to say I didn't see her name on the athlete list today, so I wasn't sure.
Who?
Did you see her name on the list? The Sarah Grippy Snyder.
I'm not entirely sure. I thought so. Maybe not. Maybe I've just got her name on the brain after seeing it so many times in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a fun race.
So that was the second race. We have had the Georgia Spring race already. Coming up next, we have May 20th, Maryland Spring, and then Ohio on June 17th, July 8th, Chicago, October 7th, Dallas, Texas, and then the mandatory final race in Florida on November the 11th. So athletes need to race at least 5 races, which you were just talking about, Miranda, far better than having to do the full series, much more athlete friendly, allowing them to be able to take a bit of time off if needed. And this was the second of the 7 race series. Amazing. So thank you for joining us, guys. This live race coverage of the 2023 SavagePro Series has been a presentation of Savage Race and the OCR report. Thank you so much for watching. A special shout out to the team at Savage Race. You're an absolute pleasure to work with. You can find the race results for today's race at the OCR Report Instagram, which is at the OCR Report. Be sure to subscribe to the OCR Report YouTube channel. Don't forget, you can support live streams like this for less than $5 a month by becoming a member of the OCR Report through Patreon. Sign up today and please help support the sport that we all love. So from our rabbits, Jessica, Rachel, and Kevin, our producer, Jason Dupree, my co-host, Miranda Huber, I am Francesca Chiarendo. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on May 20th for Savage Maryland.
Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah.